When you're a toddler, your parents will usually try to get you to watch television or movies to keep you distracted for a bit. Some things you could never look back on as an adult because they didn't really do much but hold your attention for an hour or so. But sometimes you watch something you're so attached to that it's practically engraved into your heart. And that for me was Winnie the Pooh. He's one of the most lovable animated characters of all time and has some of the most iconic and memorable characters to match him. I've always had a soft spot for Winnie the Pooh, and still to this day remains one of my favorite things, ever since I saw my very first Disney animated movie, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. As a child, I was in love with this movie, and today I can still look back at it and think it holds up pretty well for a kid's movie. I think I like it so much because it was one of the first movies I ever saw, and ever since it's had a special place in my heart. I remember I always used to rent it from our local video store, to the point where either my parents bought it for me or kept it and never told them about it. Either way, I was happy. Because of the new Christopher Robin movie coming out, I wanted to give my thoughts on the movie that made me grow such a love for this silly old bear so much in the first place. The movie takes place in the span of a year and follows a few stories surrounding Winnie the Pooh and his friends in their home of the 100-acre wood. Whether it's Pooh getting stuck in the doorway after eating too much honey, dealing with a nasty flood, or Tigger just bouncing everyone in the woods. There's no real narrative to the film, as it's mainly a series of animated featurettes made in the last decade and put them together to make a feature-length movie, but it's structured well enough for kids to stay interested and not lose focus. It's not really everyone's go-to Disney film, as it's made for little kids, but it's perfectly fine for people of all ages. What I like about this movie is that it's different than most Disney films, where usually they would take a dark turn with creepy imagery or character deaths or something, but no matter what Winnie the Pooh movie there is, it always stays in its humble little world. Even in Disney games like Kingdom Hearts, where you travel to worlds based on Disney movies to fight monsters, Pooh's world is just you helping Pooh steal honey from the bees or bouncing with Tigger. Standard stuff. Unless Pooh is riding on your back to pick up honey all across the book. That's pretty fun. I remember buying the Blu-ray of this the day it came out and being blown away by how they restored this classic. But it did suffer from a few of Disney's odd home video choices. Before I go any further, I just want to go on a mini rant. In a good chunk of the older Disney films I own on Blu-ray, every time you pause the movie, a slideshow will start and the narrator will give you a trivia fact or something about the movie you're watching. I guess it's a way to keep the kids' attention when the parents take an intermission. That's understandable, but it's so annoying having to listen to somebody talk when the movie is paused. What if I suddenly get a call and have to pause the movie to answer it? I would normally just leave the movie paused, but it's hard to hear when the TV is still playing something. The only thing I could do is mute the TV or turn the system off that I'm watching it on, but I shouldn't have to do that. The whole point of the pause button is to stop the film and leave it silent until you come back a few minutes later. It's a major pet peeve of mine whenever I pop in one of these movies.
Whilst you are searching for Pan's shadow, see that you don't lose your own.
Oh dear, wait, Shadow, wait, come back.
But the icing on top of how adorable this movie is, the Blu-ray came with a kite. Isn't that just precious? This movie has such a charm that can't be replicated by future Disney films, though the later Winnie the Pooh movies do the best they can to capture that magic. I do get quite a few chuckles every now and then, though the movie doesn't feel the need to force comedy in, as it all seems to come perfectly natural. One of my favorite elements of this film is the fact that the characters are always breaking the fourth wall and paying attention to the fact that they're in a storybook. Sometimes they talk to the narrator reading the book, and other times the events of the book will interact with the pages.
Suffering sassafras. He's sailing clean out of the book. Quick, turn the page.
Thankfully, it all feels so natural that it never overstays its welcome and is always worthy of a few chuckles from me. Most people love Pooh and Tigger as they're the most beloved characters from the series, but my favorite was always Gopher. He's a character that was first introduced in the movie's first featurette, Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, and was never a character in the original author's books that the movie is based on. In fact, that's his whole gimmick. Throughout the movie, practically every scene he's in, he states that he's not in the book.
Somebody call for an excavation expert. I'm not in the book, but I'm at your service. Think it over. Let me know. You got my card. I'm not in the book, you know.
And it's so out of place whenever he says it, but I think that's what makes it so funny. And on occasion, he'll just say it out of nowhere for no reason.
I'm gonna skedaddle. I'm not in the book.
Sadly, you only see him for the first half of the movie, and just kind of fades away through the second half. But he made such a staple in this film that they kept him in future installments, so I was at least happy about that. I can't emphasize enough how much I love these characters, and how can anyone not? They're some of animation's most beloved characters for a reason, and throughout the rest of the films and TV shows, they never lose their charm and are just absolutely delightful. If I had to pick my second favorite character, it's probably Rabbit. He seems like the most fleshed out character in the movie, and usually a lot of the humor comes from his insecurities and how bad things always happen to him.
He promised. Did you hear him promise? I heard him. You heard him, didn't ya?
Even when he's pushed to the limit when Pooh's stuck in his door. The animation is really nice, but at times can be a little lazy with how much it recycles the same clips over and over again. Disney is usually known for recycling animation from previous projects, but there are several instances where the animators use the same clips at least 3 times, and that's a lot for a film with a runtime of 74 minutes. The voice cast is excellent too, using actors like Sebastian Cabot and Sterling Holloway, who have worked in previous Disney films like The Jungle Book, Alice in Wonderland, and The Sword and the Stone, to name a few.
Now, is the next chapter all about me?
No, it's mostly about Tigger.
Oh, bother.
But you're in it.
Oh, good.
Car! Hold it, car!
Oh, my sinus.
Later actors like Jim Cummings do an amazing job portraying these characters, but the originals left such an impression on me that I'm unable to distance myself from their voices.
Think.
And the first person he thought of was...
Winnie the Pooh?
Oh,
Oh.
Though this movie does have some interesting writing choices. There's a part where Pooh eats too much honey and gets stuck in Rabbit's doorway, and the only way for him to get out is to stay there and wait for him to get thin again. But Rabbit tries to make the most of it by putting a frame around Pooh's ass and decorating it. How do you even direct a scene like this? I mean, it's still funny, but so unusually funny. I just hope nobody comes along and thinks too hard about what Pooh is doing. Or rather, what he's taking. Along with the voice acting, one scene I find myself laughing at is where Pooh sneezes from smelling the flowers. He starts huffing the sneeze, but the third huff sounds like a completely different person recorded it.
Hold on. Hold it.
I don't know why, but that scene always makes me laugh for some stupid reason, but other than that, the voice acting here is solid.
There's that pot.
yourself. And Pooh rolled and rolled.
It only makes me wonder how these characters will be portrayed in the new upcoming movie. I mean, you got Jim Cummings back to play Pooh and Tigger, which is great, but they also got Peter Capaldi to play Rabbit. You picturing that? Peter Capaldi voicing Rabbit?
Could you say it again, please, Rabbit?
Well, where should I start from?
Oh, from the moment the fluff got in my ear.
Well, when was that?
I don't know. I couldn't hear properly.
You get sarcastic with me again, and I will stuff so much cotton wool down your fucking throat it'll come out your ass like the wee tail on a Playboy bunny.
Could you say it again, please, Rabbit?
Kiss my sweaty balls, you fat fuck.
One scene that stood out to me after seeing this for the first time in years is the ending. I never understood it when I was younger, but seeing it now only fills my heart with tears of happiness and melancholy. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the new Christopher Robin movie spawned from this scene, asking questions about when Christopher Robin grows up and what happens, and finally getting them answered. Revisiting this movie and making this review only reminded me why I love this movie so much, and I even found reasons to appreciate it that I never found when I was a kid. This isn't everybody's favorite Disney movie, especially around my age where most people grew up watching Little Mermaid, Mulan, Tarzan, and around when Pixar was blowing up in popularity. And truth be told, it's not my all-time favorite Disney film, but it's definitely in my top 10. Regardless, this movie left such an impact on me as a child, and even now, as an adult, I'm slowly revisiting every Winnie the Pooh installment I've neglected all these years, and nothing has made me happier. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh holds a special place in my heart as an instant classic.